Whoa, it's the appearance of this fuckface again. Before I continue, I'd like to say something about my voice. It sounds rather lifeless and lacking energy, doesn't it? Well, I didn't want to bother putting effort into this voiceover, so even with my script having exclamation points and such, this is the best I can do. Anyway, I wanted to make this video because I was rather proud on the details I put in my game. And since it's unfortunate that people will most likely miss these, I might as well show you on my own. Speaking of details, or you might call it secrets or Easter eggs, I know I've said in the past that I wanted to cover the ones in my previous games too, but I think I'm gonna cancel that. Besides the endings in Hart vs Arnold, they're not really interesting beyond, whoa, in Hart's perspective, if you lose, you'll get the normal cutscene from Hoopful, and if they took Joy, you get the Joy ending. Plus, it's been pretty much ages since I've worked on those games, so I've forgotten most of the secrets myself. Now you might still be thinking why I'm making this video in the first place. Well, I had to do it eventually after breaking my promises for my past games. Plus, this game arguably has the most of the little details out of all of them, so this one will yield the most content. In any case, let's hop into the Easter eggs of Syndicalos Overhaul, read by yours truly, Fuckface. The first thing happens right at the beginning. If you interact with this boulder 10 times, this happens. I don't want to make a self-deprecating speech since I've already done that in this video, but this message can very much be summed up as me telling you that I always try my best to make these games good. Hart here appears because he said it himself. He's the character that made me want to make my own mods in the first place. Anyway, let's proceed to the next thing. You might remember that Cindy picks out your party, but I never showed the dialogue between him and Gabriel, so this section will be all about Gabriel since I kinda ignored him in the first video. Now you might also remember that upon winning, Gabriel will be in front of you along with these two guys. So what would happen if Gabriel was in your party? Well, it's simple. He disappears so there's only one of him. No matter which slot in the party member he's in, there will always only be one of him. Oh yeah, if we chose to join Cindy's army at the beginning, Gabriel will say this instead of so much for getting new members. And if you manage to get Hart to appear, he'll say this instead of that boulder must have been destroyed in the heat of the battle. Now after this cutscene, you know how your first party member will say see you around to Jerry? But what if Gabriel was in the first slot? Well, it's not that complicated. Your second party member will say it instead. While we're in this area, I might as well show you the dialogues of your teammates right before this battle, since I've only showed Leonard's, Johnny's, Fatty's, and now Gary's and Gabriel's. Before we get into the battle, Let me show you some slight differences if you had skipped the whole cutscene with Cindy. Whether you win or not, the cutscene that plays will have your teammates missing, since they never appeared. If you lose, Cindy will say this instead of, well, I'll show you later when it's time for discussing the battle. And if you win, Gabriel will say this instead of the previous ones I talked about. And also, no one will say goodbye to Jerry. Gabriel will immediately tell Jerry to proceed. Now let's hop straight into the battle. After winning against the archers, you might have noticed that Cindy is alone with his bigger guys. While this makes sense normally, each and every one of them actually disappears when you kill them. Meaning, say, you kill Albert Thrones and Finn Roma. But you lost. As you can see, they're not here. The rest of them are still alive and well. Side note, Albert Thrones, Stefan Sear, Eugene Bates, and Finn Roma are all made up names by me, since despite them having sprites in the overworld, they're not actual enemies. Anyway, we'll get back to the losing cutscene later, but for now, let's move on. While I've shown myself killing Cindy's two big guys before attacking him, they can pretty much be left alive throughout the battle. Here are the things that happen when they are kept alive. The disappearing thing applies to them too, by the way. Let's say you killed Don Sickness and then lost. He won't be here anymore. While we're here, let's look at the losing cutscene to the fullest. Sit tight, I won't be speaking for a while. Now, if you've lost once and watched through the entirety of that, then you come back and win, the people at the end of the post-credits dialogue now show that they are indeed Rando and Buddy. While this is very much obvious, I thought it'd be a nice little touch for them to be unknown until they're made clear when you lose. I literally used the global save system script for this. And now for some miscellaneous stuff that I didn't know where to put. Also, I've pretty much lost all motivation to record footage for these things, so we're just gonna have to stare at Fuckface's expressions for now. A lot of moves got rebalanced, some light, some heavy. Most notably, Gary's inhale no longer gives tired, and his rejuvenating blow no longer inflicts negative status effects, meaning that he can be paired with Fatty to become excellent AoE healers. Fatty's talk to the hand, when successful, doesn't guarantee a KO, since while it's very unlikely to happen, I don't want people to win by pure luck. Same goes for Victor's successful and their misery. It still does a shit ton of damage, but it probably won't kill from full health. Johnny's rake pitch no longer has a chance to tint the fucking screen. Who thought this was a good idea? Instead, he'll inflict crying and rarely blind to everyone. The reason why I did all of this was made even more clear when I actually played Vegapul, as I found myself not using most of these skills due to them being severely outclassed by others, or they were just straight up garbage. Wait, whoops, I wasn't supposed to say that. I just have to agree with everyone by saying Vegapul sucks, right guys? By the way, just a little trivia. Did you know that two of Jerry's special moves, Flaming Tar and Sprawling Stalks, can only be obtained after Dice Mahone? It pretty much makes them useless since you're most likely heading for Cindy at that point, the final stretch of the game. Wait, no, I wasn't supposed to say that either, it sounds too much like a guide. For a Lisa game? Impossible. Anyway, enough of that. Let's move on. Finally, I'd like to say some things about the ending, since it may not be as clear as I think it is. I'd like to note that I haven't actually played Vegapul when developing this. About the closest thing I can get to knowing the story was watching Atari Jimbo's playthrough and hearing their criticism. But despite what I've said in the Q&A video that you have watched, right? I ended up making a Vegapul mod before playing it. Anyway, let's get back on track. After defeating Cindy, Gabriel and Jerry joins the archers that shot and hung Cindy in Joyful. After this, Gabriel leaves for Vega's territory as he's willing to join the gang, then Jerry follows. When Gabriel returns, he encounters the mutant, Cooper, and tries to escape by entering Vega's territory, which had been barricaded, leading to his death. These events can be passed off as the reason why there's a random Cindy archer in the entrance to Vega. Buddy and Rando soon enters, defeating the mutant, exploding the barricade, and slaughtering Vega's gang. Jerry finally returns, but it was already too late. As he enters the territory, he notices that his friends are dead, and upon looking back at the dead Gabriel, he wonders if he could have survived if the entrance hadn't been barricaded, allowing him to unite with Vega's gang and fight the mutant together, which didn't happen, and he ends up dying. After this, Jerry throws his hat on the ground and stomps on it, complaining about Vega. He then throws the hat away and apologizes to his late friends, thinking that if he had returned sooner, he could have maybe saved them or spent his would have been last moments with them. He says goodbye and has a close encounter with Buddy. Now I know some of the timing is off, such as where Jerry was when Gabriel fought Cooper and Buddy arriving, but I couldn't make a better scenario where Jerry never encountered Buddy and Randall, since if he had returned with Gabriel at a similar time, Buddy wouldn't have reached there yet, meaning no one had died. Another problem was figuring out Jerry's character, since he spends most of his time in Vegapul being brain damaged. But this ending can summarize him as a guy who cares about his friends, and despises his leader for putting him through a journey that led to his friends' deaths. Before I end this video, I would like to say a couple of things. First, I'd like to make it clear that you're not listening to Fuckface, you're not listening to Alter Reaper, you're listening to the guy running the channel. I apologize for the lack of uploads and constant venting in my community posts. These past 3 or so months have been very rough on me. and the feeling of needing to upload new videos just made it worse. However, I stumbled upon a video that changed my perception on making anything in general. I'm talking about this video made by Nathan Z. I'm gonna put the clip of what did it for me. Hopefully he won't mind.
How hard you work is not necessarily directly correlated with how successful that thing is going to be. Trust me. You literally gotta just do whatever you're doing and put it out into the world and just move on to the next thing. That's it. That's all you can do. Because once it's out there, it's not up to you anymore. You can promote it, but whether people connect to it or not is not up to you. You just have to be proud of the work that you put in out.
So yeah, I was always expecting my videos and games to become big in the community, becoming number one. But I was entirely blinded by my past. My old videos succeeded because Color of the Wilbursin was new. But as time passes, the videos I made just aren't as original or interesting. I wasted a lot of time playing through a heavily unbalanced XDX game, and for what? To upload a new video to get easy views. I played through a recent XDX game because of what? Because Clint Moss did it and got attention. Why can't I? Obviously, that didn't work because my video ended up feeling like I did out of obligation. I've made videos on XDX's games, so it's only natural that I make another one. But there was no passion, no love. This was nothing more than a quantity over quality video. And the messages I felt like a desperate call for sympathy, the cherry on top of this shit frosted cake. Then I got a wake-up call from that video. I can't always be number one. Maybe I was back then, but the past will always be the past. So from this point onwards, I'll try my best to actually enjoy making videos and not see them as fame-making machines. Rather, I'll see them as art pieces that I cherish until the end of time. Yeah, that was a lengthy emotional speech from a guy who hasn't even reached 1,000 subs yet. But still, with how small the Lisa community is, I just hope someone out there understands my message. So, yep, Cindy overhaul was something special to me, and I'm glad I made it. But I actually wasn't supposed to. Whoops, my bad. I don't actually have ill will against that person. It's already been a few days since that happened. I just found it jarring that they had that outburst. Especially since I didn't even contribute to whatever was discussed up until that point. If you're watching this, man, with all of that out of the way, I'll see you tomorrow because I have a new video at the ready. Goodbye.